There's so much bad art business advice out here. I wouldn't be surprised if you've done all of these. And while you watch me draw this today, learn about all of the worst art business advice that you've heard that's really popular, but it doesn't work for you. It's not gonna work for anybody. And if you are doing this, how do you course correct? Because if you want success, you have to stop doing this. Now, as you're pushing out your product, you're pushing out your service, especially for those of y'all that want to get into freelancing like me, and you're trying to attract customers. One of the biggest things that you probably kind of thought to yourself is that you need to get as many customers as possible. You need to try and attract so many. Or are you maybe taking a look at your wait list, and we'll talk about that in a minute too, about how many people do you typically work with in a month? And let me just ask you that, like, how many people are you typically servicing? Because just to be honest with you, one of the worst lies that you've ever been told is that you need to have more clients and more clients and then more clients than that. And it's just never ending cascade of needing more and more and more. The entire objective here is not to get more clients. That's such a bad philosophy because there are a lot of y'all out here that are able to get lots of clients, but you're not able to break even when it comes time for you to pay your bills at the end of the month. Am I right? So what's the issue here? You getting more and more and more clients is also very unsustainable. So aside from a monetary factor, is that every single client that you get, you have to split your time, you have to split your attention, you have to split your focus, and just to be honest, you also have to split your quality, because I'm just gonna say it, if you're working with like 10 plus clients and you're working with them all at a time, there's no way you're actually doing your best on every single one of those. And that's why I learned pretty early here that what you actually wanna do is have less clients that pay you more money. Because here are the benefits of that. If you have less clients paying you more money, you have total focus, you have total attention, total creative effort put into everything that you're going to do. Just think of it like this. You have to put in less time and less energy into less artwork that's going to pay you more. Now, does that mean that you can just automatically go and jump right into that? No, but start to build towards it. And if you're concerned about, well, how am I gonna price like that? Don't worry, I'm gonna discuss all of that in this video today. But if your sole objective is to always get more, but your pricing stays consistent, that is your issue, friend. And so by doing this, I've actually been able to unburden myself and been able to go ahead and get better clients and better projects and get more clients based on that. So what you actually want to do is not get more of whomever will pay you a little bit of money, but you actually want to get more of the right clients for the better price tag that you want. And then, my friend, that is going to allow you to go ahead and get much more out of your business. How's that sound? Now on that topic of you having lots of clients and lots of interest, and listen, do you have a wait list? Do you have a queue? Do you even make this thing public maybe? And you're going to love that list. You're gonna love the fact that you have so many people queued up. But we're also gonna discuss today the issues with all of that. And you're going to equate that really big demand and all of the people that are paying you right now and all of the people that want to work with you, you're gonna interpret that as, oh, this is such a good thing. This is a great aspect for my freelance business. This is going to definitely propel me to the future. But hold up. Actually, that's not a good thing. And what I wanna let you know, friend, is that whenever I take a look at people's really long lists of clients that are interested in working with them, and they have like 5, 10, even 20 or more, here's what I want to let you know. That just means that you're too cheap. That means that you are undervaluing yourself. You're underselling your services. And just to be honest, if you have that many people who are interested in working with you, you have all the validation in the world to want to increase your pricing. And just to be honest, like if you have 10 people that are currently like queued up to work with you, you should double your pricing immediately. There's just no comprehensible reason as to why you should keep your pricing the same. This is just a basic philosophy of supply and demand. But for some reason, whenever artists are looking at what their freelance queue is like, they somehow equate that. And I understand that because that's a personal validation metric for you. It's not actually a very good business metric. It is a terrible business metric for you to look at your ultra long list and be like, wow, look, I'm gonna be a success. Even if you live in another country that doesn't have a superpower economy like the US or Europe, then I just wanna tell you this too, is that you're actually underselling yourself and you're undervaluing your future, and you could be living a 10 times cushier life by doing this. So you're not doing yourself any favors. But oftentimes, artists tend to equate that really big demand with really big success, but you're not feeling it either. And this is why you need to increase your pricing. It's not a good thing when you have too big of a demand. Now, this next one I've been combating for years, and I still see this all the time. And I know that one of the biggest difficulties that you could ever fathom is going ahead and putting out your freelancing services and not giving a price for it. And tell me, does this really trigger you? Does this just immediately make you angry? Do you just think that I'm just some fool here on YouTube telling you to do something that's just absolutely stupid? Because here's what I want to let you know, is that from doing this, I've actually been able to scale my pricing from $30 for commissions all the way up to $1,500. And that's while growing my skill, and that's over time. And for you who's really going to combat anybody on this, think about it like this. If you wanted a wedding cake, you can't just call up and ask how much. If you wanted to get your car fixed, you can't just call up, ask how much without a discussion. You can't just call a contractor and ask how much without a discussion. And so really what price sheets represent for you is an insecurity blanket. And it's basically just a nice way for you to put your pricing out there and for you to not have to deal with people, for you to not have to interact with clients. But here's the problem with that. Clients are only looking at your pricing, not your artwork. They're not looking for what's the best version of this, what's the best version of their idea, what you're able to deliver. But instead, they're looking at what's the cheapest thing that I can get that fits within my meager wallet. And that's what's not gonna propel you to the future, friend. So if you're somebody right now that's like, oh man, well, I have to do this, I don't know how this is gonna work out, listen. All you gotta do is invest into your people skills, invest into your conversations with them. You cannot be the person who is essentially an artistic prostitute, where somebody just drives up, and hollers out the window, hey baby, how much? And you just slap out your services and pricing, and then you drive off in the car not even knowing the individual. You can't do that, friend, okay? It's not gonna work out for you. It's not long-term sustainable. And if you really wanna say that it is, here's what I wanna ask you. Show me somebody who's been doing that for 5 years that doesn't have a big social media following and actually has respectable pricing. Because I can tell you from over 10 years of experience doing this, they don't exist because they quit. Do you want that to be you? Because this is a horrible, fallacious lie that you've been told. Don't do it. I can show you how all over my channel. Now on that last point, I know what your immediate combat is that what if, wait for it, what if you waste your time, right? So what if you follow my advice and you don't put out your art with a pricing sheet and somebody contacts you and oh my God, you've wasted your time. You had all of this time invested into a conversation, you put forth that effort, and then you get a no. And now what? Now you feel awful. Now you feel like, oh, it's been such a waste of both of our times. What if I make the client feel bad? What if I now feel bad because, oh man, I was really excited, but now I'm not? Here's the entire issue with that. And here's why this is such a bad lie that's promoted throughout the art community, especially when it comes to art business. Getting a no is not a bad thing. And I know that's such a strange sentiment to have about it, but it's really a grounded philosophy, because if you have a 100% close rate, all that means is, again, your pricing is way too cheap and you're not conducting yourself like a good business person. And if you have a 100% close rate, that's not realistic and that's not something that you should ever expect, okay? Just to put this into perspective for you, you need to think about a no as still a great opportunity. Listen, y'all, it is a fantastic opportunity for you to hone your skills. It's a great opportunity for you to hone your conversation skills, for you to hone your business skills, for you to practice. Every single time that I talk to somebody about anything related to my businesses, anytime I talk to somebody about any type of freelance opportunity or anybody who's interested in my art mentorship, then anytime that I talk to them, I don't think of that as a waste of my time. That is an opportunity for me to get better at pitching, to get better at selling. And for those of you that are going to avoid doing that, I'm just gonna tell you straight up, you're also avoiding your potential and you're avoiding especially your earning potential. Have you ever considered that? But instead, what a no represents for you is not a closed opportunity. What it represents for you is that it triggers your own insecurities and it triggers your doubt in yourself. Am I right? Does this sound like you? Because if you get a no, you start to think to yourself like, oh my God, well, my mom was right, my dad was right, my teacher was right, oh, I'm not gonna make it, or this person said it. That's what it really represents for you. And just to put this into perspective for you here, friend, and let's just put this into kind of a sporting metaphor here. So if you are a top tier NBA player, do you know what the percentage of shots that they get is? It's around 45%. So that means that they miss 55% of the time. If you're missing 55% of the time, that's not a bad thing. And also just the fact that the client reached out to you for your service, that's a great thing. And that means that you're doing something right and you just need to persist, or you just need to course correct a little bit. So go ahead and try that out. And I promise you it's gonna be so much better. Now in the freelance market, you will see no shortage of people promoting this wonderful gem here. Have you ever heard people say, well, nobody's buying art. Oh, right now, nobody's buying art. Oh, it's Christmas time. Nobody buys art at Christmas. Everyone's, getting Christmas presents. And, oh, wait, it's that time of the year. Oh, it's summertime. Everybody's going out and traveling. No one's spending money on art. Or, hey, AI's here now. Nobody's buying art. Oh, the market is totally desolate. It's just a big old desert wasteland. Have you ever heard any of this one? You are going to misinterpret nobody is buying your art with nobody is buying art. And what you're doing there, I just want to kind of make you privy to this, is that you're personalizing everything. You're taking this really personal, and therefore you are misinterpreting what the actual concern is. Nobody is buying your art. Because if you look around online, there are artists getting work everywhere, all around the globe, in all economies. Oh, the economy's good and bad. Doesn't matter, people buy art. Oh, the economy's great, people buy art. Economy sucks, people buy art, okay? That is not an excuse. The reality is just that nobody is buying yours. Now, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. Because if you actually take ownership into that, that then should cause some pause, you to look at what you're doing, take a look at what you're offering, and ask yourself, what do I need to do better? Because if they can get clients, how do I? Now, there's still things you have to toxically avoid, like don't underprice yourself, don't undervalue yourself, don't try and get on like terrible art commission websites either. Like don't get on Artistry or Artisan Clients or Upwork or any of those. I've made videos about that. They're in the description if you want to see why. But you have to instead take a look at what are you offering and why are you not getting the people that you want? And I also see this represented too as when you start to bump up your pricing. All right, sometimes people will be like, well, Sean, I tried your approach here and it just didn't work out for me. All right, so I went from $50 to $100 and now the whole client pool done dried up. So let's think about it like this. Let's say that you played high school sports and then you graduated into doing college sports. And then you went from college sports to the farm league of that sport. And then you went from the farm league of that sport to the major league of that sport. So what this should kind of elaborate for you on is the fact that each level requires something different. To go from a $50 client to a $100 client, they have different needs, they have different expectations, and you have different growths that you need to implement in your artwork. Same thing goes too when you go from a $100 to a $300 client. Very different. When you go from a $300 client to a $1,000 client, entirely different needs and entirely different expectations. So the issue here is not that nobody's buying art, it's just that they're not buying your art, which then should help you kind of figure out what do you need to do? And listen, if you're totally lost on what to do, let me be your resource for you. Go ahead and hit that like, subscribe button so that I can help you out just like this, week to week, month to month, year to year, baby, because I'm here to help you succeed. And listen, if you need some private one-on-one version of this one, go ahead and check out my Art Mentorship. There's a link down below in the description. It can help you transform your life, your art, and everything about it, just like I have for dozens of other people just like you. But one of the worst things you can ever say and assume is that just nobody's buying art, because really what you're doing there is just giving yourself permission to fail. Have you ever considered that? Now, when we talk about starting an art business, right? Does that just completely overwhelm you? Have you ever done like a Google search and it's like, oh my God, look at all the stuff I gotta do? And have you ever been told by maybe it was a parent or a friend or just somebody else starts a business and they're like, oh my God, you gotta get a business account, you have to get an LLC, you gotta register with this, you gotta get insurance for that, and you gotta do this and that thing. All right, y'all, please calm down on this one. Because listen, y'all, all too often, I talk to artists who are just immensely anxious about starting this up. And they're like, oh my God, I gotta pay taxes and I gotta do all this and that. None of that is true. Let me just break this down really simply for you, okay? Starting an art business is really simple, especially if you're in the freelance market, y'all. This is literally the easiest art business in the world to start and to sustain. And here's why. First and foremost, you do not need to even go ahead and make any type of an LLC, make any type of a business account. You don't need to do anything officializing yourself as a business entity. Look, I would not even consider you a business entity unless you can gross somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000 to $15,000 within a full calendar year. That also makes it safe for you, therefore, to go ahead and just, if you're worried about taxes, just go ahead and plop that in under extra income, because that's literally all it is, okay? And you won't get taxed that much on, especially if you have a full-time job where taxes are already taken out. Now, as far as establishing yourself as an LLC, once you start to hit over $15,000, I'm gonna tell you this. You have officially confirmed that you have a viable business, and therefore you should go ahead and do that. Not because you have to or Uncle Sam's gonna come for you, but just because it's foolish not to. You get all of the great tax breaks. Like if you go ahead and you work in your home and you have like some type of an office space, let's say it's even like a 5x5 corner of your room and that's where your art setup is. That is able to be a tax deduction for you, and all of your expenses related to that home cost is related to your business deduction. It's easy. Now, same thing goes with if you need to go ahead and open up some type of a business banking account. You don't need to do this, I would say, until again you've hit over $10,000 to $15,000 worth of revenue within a full calendar year. There's just no need for any of this one. And you might be thinking, well, I need to get a tax attorney and everything. No, you don't. No, you really don't. Y'all can just get the more expensive version of TurboTax. It's like $120, just like I've been doing for years, and it gets everything done. It's very easy to go through. You don't have to go to like some fancy business consultant every single time that y'all do taxes every single year. And now I'm speaking to people in the US. It's very similar for people overseas, but y'all, listen, your first thing that you need to do is actually get going on the thing. You need to establish momentum. You do not let the resistance of starting a business be the reason why you don't start the business, all right? Worry about that stuff after you've already established yourself, not before. That's putting the cart before the horse is even a baby. All right, I'm gonna try and not get heated on this one. I'm gonna try so hard, so many times, over years. And listen, y'all, when I tell you this, I'm just coming from a place of like, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been doing this about 5 years longer than the average freelancer out here. And one of the things that so many people try to commit to and try to push and sell is how many different things that you should do. And this drives me bananas. Because listen, you're one person, and I just want to put this into perspective for you. You're probably working a full-time job, or you probably don't have one, and you want to build this into something sustainable for you. Or you have lots of other duties and obligations in life. Maybe you're a parent, maybe you're a spouse, maybe you're a caretaker for somebody. And now the advice that you're supposed to just do 100 different things, or screw 100, you're supposed to do 5 different things and expect success on 5 different things, is foolish. I put this into a lot of context for you here. So here we go. Let's just say that you're freelancing and you're trying to offer 5 different styles. That's not realistic. And I'm gonna tell you straight up, if you're doing 5 different art styles, you are succeeding at approximately 0 of them because you're not putting your fullest effort into every single one of them. I can also put this into what you're trying to offer for your genres. If you're trying to do 5 genres, again, you're not killing it on 5, you are failing at all of them. Let's just say that you want to also be that person who wants to diversify their income. And we'll talk about that one in a minute. But if you're trying to start a Patreon and a YouTube channel and freelance and trying to start a comic and trying to sell at conventions, you will not succeed at any of them. And so here's the core philosophy that I instead want to impart to you, because this has been long-term sustainable for me and many other artists, and it's going to be long-term sustainable for you, because you instead need to understand that more options is not more opportunities to succeed. More options are more opportunities and more guarantee that you will fail at all of them, okay? And listen, you can go ahead and just think of it this way. You can fail at 5 things or succeed at 1. And if you think about the artists that you look up to, or maybe even the ones that are giving you this oppositional advice that you should do all of these things at once, they all started and they got going with one thing. One thing is the easiest way to do it, y'all. Get really good, get successful at one thing, then build to your second, then get successful with that, then build your third, and so on and so forth. And listen, if you want to see a video on exactly how this works, tell me down below because I would love to make that topic for you. So unless you want to fail more and fail quicker and not have any more success, then you can go ahead and do this. Otherwise, I would really avoid it. Now, this one really makes me scratch my head. I've heard this one a lot recently. I've been told this by some artists as far as why they don't like to do this. And I just want to let you know straight up that this is a really bad business model. And here's what it is. Let me ask you, when you go to work with somebody, okay, when you're freelancing and you have somebody who's interested in you, okay, are you afraid to take payment because you're afraid that you won't deliver? What does that mean? Why would you ever be afraid to deliver your product? I'm trying to put this into perspective here, and I want to try and explain this to you in the easiest way possible so that if this is your model, you stop doing it immediately. Here's the reality. If you want to actually keep clients and you actually want to keep your leads here, you have to get money from them as soon as humanly possible. Listen, when you get somebody to reach out to you and they show interest, that's called a hot lead in sales, okay? That means that they are most committed, they're most ready to buy, and you have them on the line. What you want to do in that instance is actually get them to pay you something, because then that makes them commit to you and commit to the project. Even if you're in the middle of something, there's nothing wrong with telling somebody that, hey, look, it's gonna be 2 weeks, it's gonna be 3 weeks, it's gonna be a month, it's gonna be 2 months. It's okay. Just go ahead, and the easiest thing I always recommend is just get a deposit. Just get 25% of whatever that project is, and that keeps them on the line, and then just keep in contact with them. It's really simple, really easy, y'all. But a lot of artists that I've spoken to recently will say like, well, I'm afraid I won't deliver the product. Oh, that stresses me out. But just consider this, if you will. If you're afraid you won't deliver the product, why are you even opening commissions? There's a deeper issue that exists right here, and it's got nothing to do with the business. Can I tell you what will make you insecure? Here we go. You're gonna contact that client in X amount of days or X amount of weeks, and then they're gonna say to you, oh, sorry, I'm not interested. Oh, sorry, I got a PS5 instead. Oh, sorry, I went on vacation. That money's gone, I had to spend it. Versus if you capture them right then and there, then that helps them commit to you and commit to what you want to do with them. And it makes you secure, not insecure, because you losing prospects will make you insecure. Because after a decade of watching people do this and trying it out myself, I can tell you there's nothing more agonizing than being really excited for a project and then being horribly disappointed when it doesn't go through. And again, if you even have a shred of doubt that you can't work with somebody, don't put yourself out there. Maybe commissions, maybe freelancing is not the best place for you, friend. Have you ever considered that? Because if you are not getting paid up front for this and you're not getting paid before the project is completed, that is actually a measure of your own insecurity, not your business tactics. See that? Now, a really big one that I've heard all the time, and I'm gonna say that this has been promoted throughout artistic history, all right? As long as we've been doing this, as long as we've been trying to make it, I've heard this one. Have you ever heard that in order to really make it, you gotta get lucky? Or you might even look at me and you're like, oh, well, Sean, whatever, you're just lucky. You started your business before AI became a thing. You went ahead and started all this before, the economy was better back when you started. Or you might look at somebody else and be like, well, they just got lucky, they hit the market at the right time. Some of that's true, but listen, if you're concerned that you are just not lucky, then really what you're doing is you're just short selling yourself. And just to be honest with you, you're just doubting yourself and you're causing undue anxiety. Because just real talk here, y'all, you will create your own luck. Your luck is not something that just like magically comes to you. Your luck is actually the product of all of your efforts. If you want more luck, you have to do more. You have to try more things. You have to put more effort into what you're doing. You have to be not afraid to be the foolish beginner. You have to, and if you want to get to the point where you are a very praiseworthy individual, you cannot start with the mindset here that you are going to be a fool in the beginning. Because if you fear that will only go ahead and be a self-fulfilling prophecy, and you will just be the fool that never started. And you probably don't want that, do you, man? The president of Honda says that success is 99% failure. And to that extent, what I also want to add to that is that your successes teach you nothing. you will not gain much at all from that. But through failing, you need to go ahead and remove that as a pejorative in your mind, all right? You need to remove that misinterpretation that it's supposed to be bad that you fail. No, friend. Failure is good. Failure is a data point, is a collection point for you. It helps you determine what not to do. Like, I even look at this through the lens of my personal business, okay? Through doing everything totally wrong in the freelance sphere, I learned everything, what to actually do. I actually got a chance to study what are people doing right now that are completely ineffective strategies and methods that I don't want to do. And I tried it out and I failed with them. And then I produced these ones that I'm now happy to tell y'all about because I want you to succeed. I will never gatekeep you from the actual truth and what actually works. But failing for you, friend, it is valuable. It will teach you what to do. And the more that you fear failure, is the degree to which you are limiting yourself from your growth potential. And you have great growth potential, friend, but not if you are going to be the coward who is not brave enough to actually just try something. And if you fail at that, then that informs you on what you can do differently or what you can go ahead and course correct too. How's that sound? Now let me go ahead and read your mind here, y'all, because you definitely have probably been romanced by this idea. And I know you have, because I've heard so many people talk about this, and I've heard so many other art business people really glorify this one. But I'm gonna go ahead and refute it all, because none of this is true. Have you ever been sold the idea that you need to make money while you sleep? Have you ever been told the idea that you need to create passive income? That sounds amazing, right? It sounds great. Oh man, what if I could just wake up and boom, boom, bam, PayPal, 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 or the end of the month and it's like, boom, look at all those zeros in my wallet, right? Well, here's the thing. That is actually not true. There is actually no such thing as passive income. And what I mean by that, and you're gonna be like, well, Sean, all these people do. Yes, all right, listen, if you wanna go ahead and be like a stockbroker, absolutely. Sure, you can go ahead and do that. You wanna be an investor? Absolutely. Look, if you've got enough resources to go ahead and buy a big old plot of land and then drop an apartment complex on there and build it yourself, yes, absolutely, you will make money while you sleep. But in the artistic sphere, that doesn't exist, friend. In the creative sphere, here's the actual reality, is even when you hear people talking about that, you have to also understand that there was a mountain of effort that was very unpaid for a very long period of time before that ever became a thing. So just put it in perspective for you. Let's say that you want to start a Patreon. Listen, I see so many artists say like, I want to start a Patreon, but then they don't put any effort into it. And they're just expecting people who, out of their 213 followers on Instagram, to just pay them money to just see their art. And why would you do that? Like, think about that from your perspective. Like, would you pay just to see someone's art? I'm gonna say no, unless you're going to a museum, that's absolutely not gonna happen. People will go ahead and just do that on your social media. There's nothing special about that, okay? Unless you have like a very big following, like a very substantial thousands of people following, that's not going to happen for you. And then on that same note too, let's say that you wanted to go ahead and create a course or a class. I can tell you from a lot of experience in teaching, 15 years of this, y'all, that there is no shortage of effort that goes into, nor is there any degree of ease that goes into creating really great quality content. Even just producing YouTube videos, y'all. I went a year and a half without getting monetized on this channel. I went a year and a half without getting any type of really good, substantial, positive feedback on this. And there's the thing, when I really compute that, that was hundreds of hours of my time. If you go ahead and you make a course or class, and then yes, you sell it, you still have to also understand that you had to trade dozens or not hundreds of hours into the production of that thing that's sold. It's not passive. And then therefore, this leads me just to kind of point this out for you, friend. It's not about making passive income. Worry about making money while you are awake, way before you worry about making money while you sleep. And that's why, again, you gotta focus on one thing. You gotta get really good, really successful at one thing, succeed with that, and then you can go ahead and build the next thing. And then that will just compound itself over time. And that really represents what you want. You just want security. I get you, all right? Me too. But that has to be built. It's not just gonna come to you, man. Just being honest, so you can actually be helped. Now, for all my freelance friends out here, You probably have heard about certain types of art that you should make or about certain niches that you should get into. And you have just been sold and wholly bought. Yes, this is the thing I should do. Yes, that's the thing I want to do. Or maybe you think you know exactly what you want to do, but do you really? Because I just want to warn you, there are so many bad art commission niches that people think that they want to get into, that they think will be lucrative, but they're actually not at all. And I made a whole video about it right here, so go ahead and check that out. And if this helped you, share it with somebody that you know. Thanks so much. See you next time.